Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Software Failure Christmas, brought to you by Bob. Don't get too close, they will bite. Cozy up by the fire and celebrate your holiday cheer with your hosts, Trevor Ward and Bobby Adam. And special guest, Bob. And now, a musical presentation from Software Failure themselves. So sit back, get some hot chocolate, and enjoy a Software Failure Christmas classic.
Here we go, thought, both unhappy, still you blame me. Don't believe it till you see it, but you don't look. You were the one, now you're no fun, no time for me. Say it's all fine, don't admit it, this is my plea. No, I cannot stay, got to run away. 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 Sniffing around like a bloodhound, needs to stop now. You're not my friend, it's been too bad, now you should see. Speak from your mind or you will find now it will burn. I said my piece, my thoughts are free, now it's your turn. No, I cannot stay, got to run away. 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 No, I cannot stay, run away. No, I cannot stay, got to run away. No, I cannot stay, got to run away.
Syncing clap.
We do need one of those.
Oh, wait.
3, 2, go.
I gotta take a free Sunday at Culver's. Thanks, buddy.
Welcome.
That's my Christmas present.
No, that's not it. Well, it could be part of it. You want that?
I don't.
You don't go to Fargo.
Hi, welcome to the Software Failure Christmas special. We never know how to start anything in all our years of doing video.
I got you a present.
Wow, what is it? My favorite.
Pretty heavy, ain't it?
I don't know what this is, and I'm a little scared. Culver's. Did I hand that back to you? Left the receipt in there, dumbass.
The receipt?
There's some.
Well, that's from actual Lululemon.
I got a shirt. War.
Show the camera.
It's like Christmas morning.
I don't think it's your size. Are you a large?
No. I'll wear it though.
I found it.
Where?
None of your information.
I can't. That's not the rule of Christmas presents.
It was wrapped. That was the wrapping paper for your real gift in there. It's not just a boulder.
It's a rock. That's really funny. It wasn't a thoughtful gift at all.
What do you mean?
Not really.
The shirt?
Sure, but it's not my size. You said you just found it.
Well, it made me think of you, and I was like, maybe I should give this to Trevor because it won't fit me.
Thanks, buddy.
What about the rock? I have a fun story about the rock.
What?
So, on my last big trip that I went to Alaska. And I was on the beach of Alaska. I was on the beaches of Normandy. And I was out and about. And I saw this round rock just sitting on the ground. I'm like, now that is a beautiful rock.
You brought that on the plane back with you?
I brought it on the plane back from Alaska. That and a couple more. But this was like the main centerpiece. So the fact that I'm giving this to you, as a geologist, this is some pretty... You see the quartz scattered around in there with some hornblende?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. Means a lot. I gave you a Beatles book for your birthday last year.
And I gave you a sleep shirt. It'll be nice and comfortable when you're going to bed.
Means a lot.
And a rock.
My year has been made.
A good centerpiece above the mantle of the fireplace.
Alright. Well, I want to start. I ain't get you nothing.
Aww. Whoa! Just kidding.
Just kidding. You still did it. The main reason we're doing this is to kind of just talk. It's been 2 years since we started the band. Almost. By the time this comes out, it'll be 2 years. But basically, I wanted to kind of recount the history of software failure, and more specifically, Trevor Ward and Robert Adam as musicians. Your story starts before mine does. So how did you get started in music?
You see, all around us, there's guitars, drums, all this musical equipment scattered around the room. This is my house. This is where I grew up. Yeah. And at the age of 3 or 4, that's when it really started. You see, I asked my dad if I could play the guitar. And I said, Dad, can I play your acoustic guitar? I said, well, none of these ones actually right now, but and then he said, sure. And he's like, be very careful though. Don't drop it. And so I was like, can I have a mic so I can sing a song? He was like, sure. And he set a mic up for me. And I was like, I need a pick because I need to play. And then apparently, I just started belting Yesterday by the Beatles. And
the idea of a little, how old did you say you were?
I was like a toddler, 3, maybe 4.
Strumming a big acoustic guitar, singing. You've told me the story before, but strumming and singing, Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. I think you've told me the story before, and I was like, what troubles? That the last juice box was drank?
No. The butter was gone.
No butter for my
Johnny,
biscuits.
my little brother, he used to lick all the butter off the toast. And he used a lot of butter.
Is that true?
Yes. Those are my troubles. There was no butter.
But then what led you further with music?
My dad gave guitar lessons, and I was like, well, I want to learn. And so the first thing I actually learned was how to play the drums. I distinctly remember learning a certain drum beat, and it's silly. Then I learned how to play guitar, and with that, I should say, my parents got me guitar and stuff at like 5 and 6 and all that sort of stuff. And I learned how to play guitar, and then at like 3rd grade-ish, we went up to Fargo to visit
a big town hour away from us.
to visit a music store, and I was like, I really want a bass. I really want a bass. And little old me, I saved up like $5 worth of pennies and change, and I carried them around in a paper sack.
$5 with a penny? 500 pennies?
Yes! I brought 500 pennies into this guitar store. And I said, that bass right there, that's the one I want.
Is that black one you have?
Yeah.
Really?
I walked in and bought the bass. It was a $300 bass.
You paid for $5 on it though, in pennies.
Exactly. And
your parents didn't pay with the pennies, did they?
I paid with pennies.
You didn't just give them to your parents and they deposited it or something?
They accepted it.
I'm not saying they wouldn't accept it. That's crazy.
In the guitar store.
That's wild. That your parents didn't think, oh, well...
Funny story about that.
We'll take them and put them in our account.
in the store, I was walking around with my bag in my hand, and then it started to rip because it was so heavy.
Well, yeah, it's 500 pennies.
And my pennies just... I was walking around the store for like 5 minutes after picking up pennies off the ground.
That is awesome.
And then, like, I paid it off eventually through time. And that's how I got my first bass. And then I just learned and played music throughout, like, middle school. I learned saxophone. And I wanted to learn a lot more instruments in band and stuff. So I learned how to play the bari sax, the tenor sax, the bassoon,
You learned the bassoon?
I did. I played bassoon one semester in high school. In college, my freshman year, I joined a band.
Two? Your freshman year?
Two. Yes, I joined this goober to the right. But I joined a cover band and I played bass for them. And that was fun. It just got to be a lot. And then...
No, it's stuck with me.
And then I said, sorry guys, I can't do this anymore. Like, I didn't want
a lot of obligations.
Yeah. It wasn't going to work out for me to keep playing with them because all our gigs would have been like an hour away from my home. So, it wasn't going to work. Well, they're doing good now. Well, I'm proud of them. I helped get them, help them learn something and stuff. But then I'm focused on this band.
And now we bring it to me. So for context for everyone watching, Bobby is a phenomenal musician. He's not just a drummer or a singer. I know you don't. You're gonna squirm, but you deserve this praise. He's a great musician. He can play anything you give him, clearly, based off of what he said. And even when we started this band, I don't know if I knew how good a drummer you were. I think it was basically, Bobby can probably play drums, and he can probably sing while he does it. I'll ask him to start a band with me. But, yeah, my musical journey, for most of my life, it starts a lot later than his. But it's basically, for most of my life, up until I was 15, probably, music was just something that was on in the background. My parents weren't musicians. None of my family are musicians. For most of my family, it's just something that you put on in the background. And most of the music played in my house was when we were cleaning and stuff. For a long time, I just kind of listened to whatever was on up until freshman year of high school. Then I started to kind of listen to sort of my own stuff. I started listening to classic rock, like Bon Jovi and Queen. That wasn't until sophomore year though, when the Queen movie came out. Because you said that you wanted to see it, and I was like, well, I kind of want to see it too. I knew Queen, but I didn't know a ton, so I was like, I kind of want to see that movie because I'm interested. But also I don't know a ton of their stuff. So I listened to a ton of it, and I got super deep, and that was kind of what catapulted me into music. And then I got into Five Finger Death Punch, and then I got into Metallica, and that's where I got a real deep. Listening to that, it made me appreciate it. It's like that stuff cannot be easy to play, to go that fast and that complex, and some of Kirk's solos. It's like, how do you do that? And that's what got me wanting to play guitar initially. I wanted to learn how to play guitar, and I wanted to borrow one from you. I don't know if you remember this, but I wanted to borrow one from you, and you were like, "Yeah, you can borrow." Or no, I asked you for lessons to teach me, and you're like, "You can just learn from YouTube." You're like, "You just learn from YouTube. I don't need to teach you." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, can I borrow a guitar then?" And you're like, "Yeah," and never gave me one to borrow. And oops. So but eventually I started learning the very basics on this toy guitar, where it had like little buttons. It was sort of like Guitar Hero, but it was more, there was like little buttons where each string was.
Rock Band.
No, that's not a Rock Band. You're thinking of Rocksmith. But this was called I Can Play Guitar. It was for little kids. But I had it, and that's kind of what I initially learned on, and it had strings that I could plug and everything. And I started learning guitar, but then I was like, these chords are hard. I'm not going to be able to remember all of these chords. And then eventually, I was just learning through tab. But then I started looking at bass tab, being like, oh, what's that like? What's the bass side like? And I looked at that and I was like, this is way easier, just single notes. This is way easier than guitar. I might want to be a bass player. And I didn't choose bass necessarily, or at the time, I just wanted to learn an instrument. I wanted to get inside the music and learn and figure out how they did what they did, and basically reproduce riffs. That's all it was in the beginning. And then once I looked at bass, I was like, I want to be a bass player. This is easier to play, but also a lot of my heroes are bass players. A lot of my heroes, I would say, are guitar players. But some of the people that I look up to in those bands are the bass player, like Jason Newsted, Cliff Burton from Metallica. Those are two huge influences on me. You know a ton about him.
Yeah. 86. Rest in peace.
But yeah, a lot of my influences are, a lot of my heroes are bass players, but a lot of my influences are guitar players. And then through Metallica, I found Royal Blood, who is the biggest influence on our band. And up until that point, this was probably 2019, around the time where I was like, I think I kind of want to learn an instrument. In 2019, and then in 2020, I bought a bass, just to reproduce riffs. I had zero intentions of writing music or starting a band. And then it was probably 2021, just that summer, I was just messing around, and as I would, and I would come up with a riff here and there, and I'd be like, maybe I'll record it. I doubt I'll ever do anything with it, but that was cool. I want to be able to listen to that back. I would record it, and then one just caught my ear more than the others. And I was like, maybe I could build off of this. And then I went to a different part, and none of that was some software failure stuff. But yeah, just messing around with that, and I was like, this is cool. And I asked you to help with it, because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to music. I still don't. But I
wanted me to make them into tabs.
So I could, well, because I would record it, forget it, and then I'd be like, well, can you turn it into tab for me and kind of help me structure this? And that was kind of the start a little bit. And this was, I think, September of 2021.
And that was right when I was starting college.
Yeah. But so, yeah, I was working on that, and then I came up with this other idea, and I was like, I kind of want to, and at this point I had found Royal Blood. I was like, I kind of want to add drums and vocal to this. And at that time, I didn't think that it was going to be live. So I was like, oh, I'll sing it. And I'll just have Bobby play drums. And like I said, at the time, didn't know if Bobby could play drums that great. But I was like, Bobby can probably do it. He's a good musician. Mainly the only musician friend I have. No offense, Jakob. But I called you and I was like, hey, can you help me with this? And he was like, yeah. And then I talked to you about the drum thing. I was like, what if we did this like Royal Blood? I showed you like 1 or 2 songs at that point. And I was like, what if I showed you this? Or what if we did this? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I had zero clue about tone or how to get where we are now.
Timing.
Yeah, timing too. But yeah, at that point, it was just going to be a thing and that maybe I released under my own name. I didn't know. I didn't expect it to be a band. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, wait, I have this idea. There's this other idea. And I was like, wait, what? I brought it up to you. I was like, what if we just started a band? And you're like, oh, okay. It was I don't know if you have a different idea of it, but I was just like, what if we started? I was like, I think what I said was, you remember that song I wanted you to help me, that other song I wanted you to help me with and play drums on? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, what if we just started a band? And you're like, okay.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was very, very simply that. And it was very kind of spur of the moment. And then we started the band. And then
the first thing Trevor was like, we need a band name.
Well, yeah. Where else would you start with a band? It's like, well, we're a band. What are we going to call it?
How did we come up?
No, remember over the summer, you brought up the idea of starting a band. I completely skated over that. Remember? You were driving me to work one day, and you were like, I've been listening to like Foo Fighters and Nirvana. Those songs are kind of easy. We could start a band based off of that. Do you not remember this?
I sort of do.
Yeah, you were like, we should start a band based off of that. And I thought about it some more, and I was like, that would be fun. That would be fun. And at that point, I didn't really have any ambitions of being in a band, but I was like, once you put that seed in my head, I was like, yeah, we could. And the idea was to be a 3-piece because I didn't know about Royal Blood yet. I didn't know that being a 2-piece as a bass player was possible until I found Royal Blood and bands like Death from Above and stuff. But I found those bands and then eventually the band became what it is now. But yeah, the initial thing, the original band name was called Mike Head. I think the way we came up with it was we found a band name generator and it asked you a bunch of questions, and one of the ones that came up was Mike Head. And we had a list of like 10 names. We picked like the best 10, and we were like, okay, of these, which ones do we like? And it was like, Mike Head's pretty good. It's kind of like Motorhead and Radiohead and bands like that.
I don't remember really how it struck up.
Yeah,
that
is what it was.
Well, yeah, and then you were looking into it to make sure that there was no one else. And then...
Oh yeah, this is after the band had already started. After this band had already started, because the other one was going to be a 3-piece. But then I found Royal Blood and I came up with those ideas. And that was originally, I think, going to be a cover band, right? We were just going to play Nirvana and Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That never came to fruition.
No, we never even practiced. It was all just an idea and it just faded away. And then, yeah, when I came up with those ideas and that idea and your idea with starting a band, I was like, oh, why don't we just start a band and release the songs under that? And yeah, and then we had that name for like 6 months. We started in December of 21. This is June at this point of 22. And I was looking into it I probably looked into it before this point, but I looked up Mike Head and I was like, oh, there's someone called Mike Head. I can get some rap thing. And then we practiced and I told Bobby and we were like, well, what do we do?
Then we were like thinking for a while, and then we're like, back to it. Let's get back to the random. We did a random word generator.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I think your dad had a pedal sitting up, and we were like, what if we use Walrus in the name? And it was some Walrus audio pedal. and we were like, what if we use walrus? And I was like, that could be good. And then we were like random word generators, like maybe it's something walrus. But then we started looking up, and then eventually one popped up, and it was like, I don't remember what it was, but I said systematic failure or something like that, or system failure. I think it was something failure. I know. And then Bobby was like, what about software failure? And I was like, I like that. And then I was like, is that the one we want to go with? It had some sort of ring to it, and you said it, and I immediately was like, yes. And initially, I was kind of hesitant about having failure in the name. I was like, is that a bad omen? But then eventually, I was like,
things are never that good. Didn't think this bad. And now that they're gone, you're all that I have. Drag me down with you. Never know what's true. And now you're just that bad. And it just makes me sad. I could never trust you. You're a method actor. Took off your mask, didn't even factor. I can never trust you. You're a method actor. Cartridging and dance while I'm in your trance. I'll find another sucker. I can eat another. Hair is frozen over. Can't take it no more. I look for colder. Now I'm getting bored. I can never trust you. You're a method actor. Tried to drop the act, didn't even matter. I can never trust you. You're a method actor. Getting knocked down, getting back up, turn yourself around. Now that you're caught, now I can see you're not who I thought to be. I can never trust you. You're a method actor. Take off the mask, all left and fractured. I can never trust you. You're a method actor.
I don't know if you want to start talking about the
music.
Yeah, about the origins of kind of the first practice and stuff.
So Trevor came to me real raw, just
bass straight into amp.
his playing, everything is just raw.
At this point, I had never played through an amp. I've been playing bass for about a year and a half, probably. Never once played through an amp.
You were like, whoa, I'm loud.
Yeah, I know. I remember I was like, how do I get a crunchy? And then you're like, oh, well, okay. And then you plugged me in the line 6.
Yeah.
That I still eat.
So, yeah. And then you're like, all right, I want to put drums on this. And then the first song,
We revealing it?
Nah.
We can. There's never gonna see the light of day.
It's called Creeper King.
It was very bad.
Not your standard 4/4. And
Mind you, I'm completely self-taught. Still, don't know timing, but I've gotten better, admittedly, over the years.
I keep him in the lines. This little goober over here is like, I'm gonna write the lyrics as well. No sense of melody.
I still don't write lyrics to melody. I just
He
write
writes
words.
it to the bass line.
Not always. Not really. Not anymore. I just write lyrics.
In the beginning, though, it was.
Yeah.
Everything was to the bass line.
Because I didn't know any better. I was a young kid.
The drum, you kind of wanted the drums in the bass line as well. A little bit.
Did I? I don't think I
In the beginning, he did.
Did I? I don't think I ever put any direction on the drums. I think that's always been you.
We would sit here for a couple hours thinking. I was just in thought the whole time, like,
Obviously, was having an anger.
the Windows, like, connecting to internet.
Yeah, the dial-up tone.
Dial-up tone. That's what was going on in my head when trying to think of drum beats.
Well, that's what happens when you have a lifelong musician playing with someone who's never once played with another person. Bobby's really the only person I've ever played music with. And even then, we really learned together. If you listen to the very first time we played together to now, night and day. Like, if you put side by side, like, the first time we played, like, I won't say it, but what the second song we wrote, to now, like, when we played it yesterday, night and day. It's like, even tone-wise maybe has influenced it a little bit, because a bass sounds very different when you're playing it straight into an amp on the built-in crunch setting than when it's ran through like 6 pedals. It's a very different tone. It's split between 2 amps. You build.
You can't show his settings. You showing your settings off.
I'm in control of the edit.
Well, yeah, like you said, we learned together how to play together. Because, like, yeah, I have been playing in bands and in musical settings for basically my whole life. So, a big thing that we had to get down were cues. Cues have helped immensely.
That still runs to this day.
Cues are so important in music. That's why you have a conductor in the front of the band.
That's what we need.
Yeah. Jakob, you're hired.
Like, I listen back to those recordings because I've recorded pretty much every jam we've had, every practice. And listening back to some of the old ones from like January, like the starting month, it's very different. It's a very different tone. And even our songwriting is very different. Like, a lot of the songs that ended up on the EP that came out is that they started in very different ways. Like, Runaway is one of the biggest. Screw is probably the biggest change.
Yes. If you were to take the first, like, full run through of one of our songs and play it to
the first time we played Runaway, let's say.
Yeah, versus like what we have now, it's night and day.
Basically, to explain the way that we write songs is basically I come up with stuff on my own. I come up with the riff, and I'll basically structure out a whole song more or less. Then I'll bring it into Bobby, and then he'll fix it, make sure it's in time. And if I have lyrics right away, I'll bring those in, and then he'll kind of change words and stuff to make sure that he can sing them, because I'm not able to sing and play. Otherwise, I'd be the singer. But yeah, that's basically.
Yeah, I'll sit behind the drum set for solid 30 minutes, being like, trying to come up with some melodies and stuff. It's pretty rigorous work. Everything's also all been recorded in this place. We haven't gone anywhere.
Soft for Failure really only exists in this room so far.
Wow.
We played one show for the EP release party.
Yes. Covers.
What about
You've learned covers.
that was really how it started. How we kind of formed our not our style, but our structures, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. When we worked on that first song, it moved around a lot, and just because I was like, well, this is what a song does, moves around. But then, like, we actually started practicing, and and we played Iron Man. That was kind of the main one that kind of was like, oh, this is how songs could be, because we could keep time decently through it. And it was one of the few that sounded good that we played early on. And I was like, oh, we can just repeat a riff and that can be the song, and that is very indicative of what's on the EP. We're working on the next record, but we've broadened our horizons, and it's more than just riff, different riff. Yeah, we've certain, and we can talk about that if you want, just how we've grown and then versus now.
Yeah, like going back to when you first kind of got your bass and you were just kind of playing around and you were like, can you put these into tabs for me? I would listen to them and be like, there is like little to no structure, and like you're using the whole fretboard, buddy.
Is that not what you do? Oh yeah, that's right. In that, yeah, I went like down the string.
I was like, I'll try and put tabs over top. And
You never did.
I do think the covers helped us like learn how to play timing together. It got really our timing down together. It got our feel of music down together. Like knowing cues and stuff. Like I was like, all right, Trevor, look at me. I'll give you a head nod when you're going into the other riff and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's really how any band kind of finds not only their style, but their dynamic. Like Metallica playing Diamond Head and Band and like Sweet Savage and stuff like that. Metallica playing covers is what they initially did. Metallica nerds, for those who don't know. But Metallica playing covers and finding their way through that and kind of embellishing those and kind of looking at what your heroes did and kind of finding a way to do that on your own, I think is the best way for any band to figure out their role.
have their own sound.
Yeah. And even with like, we're very obviously a Royal Blood copy, being bass and drums, and even the songs are kind of indicative of that. But
You bought a Jag.
I did. We're very obviously a Royal Blood copy, but we've and you'll hear on the new record, no dates or anything, but something, I think that it'll come through that we're finding our own way, because the EP was pretty much the first 4 songs we wrote. We had a batch of 5. We kept one off, so that we knew we had one in the bank for the record, and that one is the second song, and it's been good for a long time. And I think that kind of shows that we not only we kind of found something kind of right away, but we've now kind of played with that, and we've kind of gotten some different directions as well. And it's not, the new record won't just be the same old thing. It'll be, in my opinion, a step up.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a step up.
Yeah. And we've kind of learned what what to do and what not to do in terms of everything and how to actually make it sound good. And I have certain things that I want to do and to make sure that my tone sounds as good as it can. And I'm sure you've done the same with drums or vocals or how you want to make everything.
Those are hard.
I think we've been going for a while. We've been going for a while. Okay, so I think, is there anything else specific you want to talk about?
Not really.
Anyone?
Do you have questions?
Anything you want clarifications on, mister?
Trevor's 5'7" for anyone.
I'm 5'8".
Trevor's 5'7" for anyone.
I'm 5'8".
And I'm 6'2".
He's 5'11".
6'2".
5'11".
6'2". I am way more than 2 inches taller than you.
He's 5'11". Anything else you want to talk specific about the history? Maybe influences?
I like the Beatles and Foo Fighters.
That's another one that I think comes through in our sound. It's like a mix of Royal Blood and Foo Fighters. If I had to kind of describe it, it would be that, because that's kind of the one. Our music taste, maybe we can talk about that. Our music tastes are very different. His favorite band is the Beatles, mine's Metallica. Very two different ends of the spectrum. But the one place we meet in the middle is Foo Fighters and Royal Blood. That's where we kind of meet in the center, and we coexist, I guess. And it's kind of indicative of in the music, especially the new stuff, I think.
We love Dave.
I love Dave. Dave, take us on tour, why don't you, huh?
Yeah, Dave, if you're hearing this,
Send us to Dave Grohl. If anyone knows him, or anyone close to him, I was gonna say if anyone knows Taylor or anyone, but
Josh Freeze.
If anyone knows Josh Freeze or Chris Shiflett or Pat Smear, let them know that Software Failure wants to go on tour with them, if they'll have us.
Or Mike.
Or
Benji.
Mike and Ben from Royal Blood. If you're seeing this, we'd love to go on tour with you, buddies. That'd be a dream come true.
From a two-piece to another.
From your bastard stepsisters.
Huh?
But yeah, I guess that's a decent segue. Where do you want to take the band? What are your aspirations?
I just want to get better, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. You're gonna learn the 4/4s, baby.
Maybe
one day. That's a big thing. Is I want to just get better. That's like.
I think that's a goal for any band. Not to say that your goals are generic or anything, but I think that's just it's a good thing. It's something that to mark your growth. It's like we can very easily recognize that at the beginning we were not good, and at this point we've gotten a lot better. We still have a ways to go, but I think any band thinks that, and yeah, I just think that it's a healthy thing to want to get better, and it just shows that you care. Not specifically you, I'm talking about just for anyone who wants to get better at what they do. It just shows that they care.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. And then also, I think playing live would be fun.
That is why we started the band.
Everyone will know this.
Well, that's my biggest thing. That's what I want to do. You're the one holding us back. Well, the thing holding us back for a while was us not being 21. But then now that we're 21, that's all I want to do. Because that's my biggest aspiration. And that's your department.
I can probably start talking to people. We kind of have a set list out. And
well, we have enough songs.
We do have enough songs. So if anyone wants to hire us for a 2-hour set
in the North Dakota area, United States, Eastern North Dakota. We're available for it.
Make it a weekend, please.
Contact us on Instagram _softwarefailure_ or something like that. Email us at softwarefailure.nd@gmail.com. We're available.
We'll do
Eastern
birthday
North Dakota.
parties.
Bar mitzvahs. Weddings, maybe. Who knows? We'll play our own songs, but
If you're
We'll play.
Uber fans.
you may even hear some new stuff.
Oh, unreleased jazz music.
That's what the next album is.
Jazz contemporary pieces.
Anything else you want to leave it off with?
Here's our Christmas song.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Chrysler, everyone.
We'll have new music out next year, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I thought you were flipping off the camera first.
Sorry. These are my thumbs.
I thought this was my phone. I think that's good.
Okay.
Did any of that make sense?
Nope. Thanks, Jacob. You're an appreciated member of this community.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save it from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save it from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Once bitten and twice shy, I keep my distance, but you still catch my eye. Tell me, baby, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a year, it doesn't surprise me. Happy Christmas, I wrapped it up and sent it. With the notes and I love you, I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been, but it's too soon now, I need a fool again. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. A crowded room, cause you're tired eyes. I'm hiding from you with your soul full of ice. My God, I thought you were someone to lie on. Yeah, I guess I was your shoulder to cry on. A face of a liar with the finest heart. A man undercover, but you're totally apart. Oh, girl, no fooling to me, but you'll never fool me again. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Merry Chrysler, everyone.